running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
There is no safer place in the storm. Talk Radio WGNS Murfreesboro, FM 100.5, 101.9, AM 1450, TV 11. The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzier, founder and executive director of First Shot. Before we get to introducing our guests, I'd just like to do a shameless plug. We have our summer camps open. You can go to firstshottn.org, click on basketball, and sign your child up. There's opportunities for 5 to 14-year-olds, both boys and girls. So if you're looking for a great summer experience for your child, go to firstshottn.org. Well, first of all, welcome in Miss Jami Averwater.
Thank you.
And I can't tell, when I saw you running, the first thing I did was call Alan Brown. He is one of the nicest men in this town, marrying one of the nicest young women in this town, and I'm so happy for both of you.
Thank you.
So my first question is, let's go back in history a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're born, where you're raised, a little bit about your family.
Yeah, happy to. I am actually born and raised here in Rutherford County. So I grew up in Eagleville out on Cheatham Springs Road, for those of you from that side of the county. You turn left at La Fiestas, and there we are. So I was born on Cheatham Springs and spent most of my life there, and moved to Murfreesboro for college. Attended Middle Tennessee State University. Go Blue Raiders. I got my degree in economics with a minor in political science. I always knew I loved politics. And for some reason, I woke up one day and decided to apply to law school. So on an inkling, I went to law school at Belmont College of Law in Nashville, and then moved back to Murfreesboro after law school and opened my own title company.
So I heard something that your discussion off air about being a lawyer, but not practicing lawyer. I think I heard the term. What's the term that you used?
Non-traditional.
Non-traditional.
Yes.
So explain why you went non-traditional versus a traditional role of a lawyer.
Yeah, that's a great question. So while in law school, everyone's encouraged to intern, work at law firms, clerk for judges, and get that experience. It did not take me long in my first internship to realize that the practice of law wasn't really where my passion was. So I love helping people. I love celebrating big milestones in life. And at the time, I was working for a law firm that also had a title company wing. And for those who don't know, a title company is part of the settlement process when you buy or sell a house or property. So when you go to sign all the paperwork, when you're getting a mortgage or you're selling your first house, you go to a title company, a law office, and you sign all that paperwork and you sit down with someone, and it's usually a really big celebration. And that's what I fell in love with at a really young age. So I graduated from law school and knew that my passion was there and not so much in the courtroom. So I do maintain a small law practice with a handful of clients who are mostly small business owners and need help navigating the ins and outs of small business. But for the most part, 80% of my time is taken up by high water title, and I'm super, super blessed with a wonderful team. We have, I think, our 16th employee starts today. I think he's number 16, Mr. John Allen. And we have 4 offices across Middle Tennessee. So we are grateful for the economy here and for all the real estate agents and lenders that have trusted us over the last 4 years. We celebrate our 4th birthday in June.
So you've got a big milestone coming. Married is coming this coming Sunday.
Yes, I get married on Sunday. Not a lot going on at the moment. Nope. Getting married on Sunday, building a house, I'm on city council, of course. I'm running for State House of Representatives, District 13, but I am above all honored to be marrying Alan Brown on Sunday, and his son Bryson and I will officially become a family of 3, and I'm very excited.
Yes, what a great young man. And again, I love the good part of social media, which has been really following Alan and his son, and now you and as the third coming into it. I see the joy that you have with this, and I'm just so happy for both of you. So let's talk about your title company, and you have 4 spots, and where are they? And
yeah, so we started in Murfreesboro, of course, and those of you who have small businesses know that Rutherford County is a great place to start a business. So we started in Murfreesboro, but quickly learned that there was need in outlying areas like Smithville and Dixon and Shelbyville. So we are in all 3 of those locations as well, and we have, like I said, 16 employees now, and I have a great leadership team that runs the day-to-day operations, which allows me to step out of the office and do what I truly am passionate about, which is connecting with people, working in the community. City Council has brought me so much joy, more joy than I even anticipated, and so they've allowed me to step out and really lean into that role. And of course, now I'm able to run for State House because of them. So I'm so grateful for my incredible team and, of course, the support that they've provided me.
so do you see your business expanding into other small towns in Middle Tennessee?
That's a good question. I think it's every business owner's dream to see their business grow. There are also a lot of aches and pains that come with growing a business. And what I never wanted was for my business to be so big or to feel so big that we lost that connection with our clients. And so this last 12 months, we've taken a step back and slowed the growth a little bit and just allowed ourselves to enjoy the moment. I think when you launch a business and you get great feedback like we did, it was so easy to say, well, how big can we make this thing? And it wasn't even about the money or the revenue. It was more about the impact that we could make in the community. And so we were able to impact the Smithville, DeKalb County community, and we've loved that. We were able to impact the Dixon community, and we have loved that. But we want to make sure that with each of those new offices, our impact in those communities where we are presently located isn't diminishing. So we've taken a step back and decided to slow our growth and focus in the communities that we are currently in, which are those 4, and specifically Murfreesboro, holds such a special place in my heart. So I think we'll grow in the future, but I'm not sure if that means new territories or if it just means a bigger footprint in the territories where we already are.
So we're going to kind of go back. Eagleville High School graduate.
Actually, so
No?
Eagleville for elementary school, and then Rockville for middle school, and then I went to the Webb School for high school in Bell Buckle. I was super, super blessed with that opportunity. I found a lot of myself at the Webb School in Bell Buckle. I was able to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do, and I met some great people who are still my mentors to this day. And so I made that long commute to Bell Buckle every day, and and it was worth it, of course. But I did attend Eagleville for elementary and Rockville for middle school.
So that growth out in that side of the county has been amazing.
Yes.
Just the growth. Talk about the growth in Murfreesboro as a city council woman. What's the 3 biggest joys you've had doing it, and what are the 3 biggest challenges facing our city?
Great question. So I started on the mayor and the council appointed me to the planning commission a few years ago. So I got my start in local politics at the planning commission level. And the planning commission is where a lot of those big projects come to get that initial feedback, right? So the Broad Street development that's all going to be happening right here outside WGNS, that kind of starts at planning commission. Clary Park, the Whataburgers every time Starbucks wants to open a new place, all that gets its start at Planning Commission. And so I stepped into that role not really knowing what to expect. But what I learned, maybe it's the lawyer in me, maybe it's the type A, I'm not totally sure. But what I learned is that the Planning Commission was set out to enforce standards that the city council set. And I started realizing that there were some things that I think our city council could improve on, and that our city could improve on because we've seen so much growth. We're not the same city we were 15, 20 years ago. We're not the same city we were 5 years ago, if we're being totally honest. If you had asked me 5 years ago if Murfreesboro would have 4 Whataburgers, I would have said no way. I also would have said, what is Whataburger? Because I was not familiar with that. But we're getting Trader Joe's. We have a main event. We have so many things coming to this area. And so I started talking with members of the city council and the mayor and some other colleagues and stakeholders in town, and expressing my concern for these changes that might need to be made. And there was a consensus of, well, maybe you should run for city council. And I thought, no, that's not a good idea. And then I found myself outside the election commission pulling a petition to run for city council. And it has been a wild ride ever since. And I loved my time on Planning Commission. I still serve on the Planning Commission in a different role, as now I'm the council representative, one of 2. But the city council is truly, the scope is so much bigger than I realized when I was a Planning Commission member. So not only is city council responsible for passing and signing off on those projects that Planning Commission looks at, it's also responsible for a large budget. I mean, the city of Murfreesboro has a lot to manage. We have a school system. We have great fire department. We have a great police force. We have an awesome parks program. And so there is so much that goes into that, and so many people that work very, very hard at the city level. And I don't think that I truly understood that when I was a planning commissioner. And so right before we walked in, Chad, who heads up the Murfreesboro Airport, was here, and he is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to aviation. And I had never been on a small plane prior to serving on city council. I had never been to the Murfreesboro Airport, and now learning all that goes into that, and how our Murfreesboro Airport is well known for being a great place for smaller professional pilots to land their planes and to keep their planes, and how important that is to our local economy. So the role of city council is so much bigger than I think anyone could ever imagine. And it is an election year, and there are quite a few people who I think are running for city council, some incumbents and some first timers. And I will tell you that it is Andy, it's a thankless job. It's hard.
You know how I know? My
Yeah.
dad was a county commissioner
I did not know
for
that.
20 years back in northern Indiana. He would get calls at all hours of the night.
Yes.
And I would pick up the phone as he was picking up the phone. And some of the things that was said to my dad about my dad were really just, not true. Because my dad had a compassion to serve.
Yeah.
He was, he had a servant's heart.
That's right.
And that's who I learned it from, my dad. Every Sunday, he'd go to the jail, open up his Bible.
Wow.
To anyone in jail. My dad served our county, and he and it is thankless, and he knew it. And I'd get off the phone, by the time I was old enough to really understand, I'd look at him and say, why didn't you fight back? He said, you get nothing from it. And
That's
so
right.
when you're looking at, it's going to grow as you go into the House, and you're fighting an incumbent. So again, navigating those waters, how are you going to do it and still maintain everything else that you got going?
I bet your dad learned, probably quicker than I did, was that people just want to be heard. They want you to listen. And that's a lot of what I do on city council. If elected to the state house, that is a lot of what I will do is listen. I don't always have a solution, especially at city council. A lot of times people will call me at the council level and it's outside. They might live in the county. They might not actually live in the city. You'd be surprised how many times I cannot actually change what they're upset about or help what they're needing help with, but I can listen to them and I can understand and empathize and steer them in the right direction. And so that's what I bet your dad learned early on, which is why a lot of what I do is just listen on city council. And I think our delegation at the state house, not Rutherford County, but statewide, could use a reminder of that the constituents, the voters, the people in the community just want to make sure that they're heard and they're understood. And they're the ones, the small business owners, the moms, the dads, the single parents. They're the ones living that life day to day. And we need to make sure we're never so far removed from that we can't empathize with where they're coming from. That's just so important to me. And if elected to the state house, that's what I hope to bring back.
So, getting back to the city, 3 things that you think we have to improve over the next, because you can't think short term. You have to think long term.
Yes.
Because of the growth that's happening in our town.
That's right.
So, what things need to improve, and how do we have solutions to improve those?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a big hurdle the city's had to face is vision casting and planning for the future. So a few years ago, the city set out to make the 2030 plan, which was basically like, what will the city of Murfreesboro look like in 2030? So this will help us plan infrastructure, schools, the service infill line, where we're going to need new police stations. But I think everyone at the city soon realized that 2030 was right around the corner. And 2040 is right around the corner. And so really we need to be thinking about 2050 because nothing moves fast in government, right? Infrastructure being built does not move fast. Getting the funding to build a school is not a quick process. So we need to make sure we're thinking as far enough in advance as we can. Now, I think the city has tackled that hurdle very well, and we are actively planning for that. So we're doing great. A+ in that department. I'd say our second issue we're facing is infrastructure. People are moving here at an alarming rate. It is not a bad thing. I love growth. If you've listened to a city council meeting or a planning commission meeting, you will hear me say that growth is a blessing. We do not want to be a community or a town or a city from where people are leaving, where they are putting their house on the market for what they paid for it and they're packing up and moving their kids to a safer area. No. We love that people want to move here. Does it bring challenges? Yes, it does. Traffic, overcrowding in schools. But with the right planning and the right people in office, we can be prepared for that. And so infrastructure to me is really important. Roads. Everyone will come and oppose a new development and say, well, we don't have the infrastructure. But unfortunately, that road in front of that development is probably not a city road. It's probably managed by TDOT or managed by the county. And so while I would love to expand that road and make it 5 lanes, that's not totally feasible. But we do need more places to live because supply and demand tells us that if we have more demand to move here than we have supply, the housing prices go up. And so affordable housing is important to me. Just because I like development doesn't mean I also don't want affordable housing. I bought my first house at 19 years old, and it was $90,000. And it was by campus. It was $90,000. And I know some people listening probably paid a lot less for their house, and it was probably a lot bigger than mine. But people at 19 now would not be able to buy a house for $90,000.
Most people out of college, 2 years in the workforce, can't afford to buy a house right now. You have to, in Rutherford County, I was in mortgage. I don't know if you knew that for a little bit. Hated it every minute. But, the average home price when I was doing it in 2003 to 2007 or 8 that I stayed in it my average loan was $125,000.
Wow.
So
that's a down payment now.
Yeah, and you're also looking, that same house is now worth $500,000 to $600,000.
That's right.
So again, there's challenges all over the place. Affordable housing's one of them, and so how do we tackle that? Because land prices aren't going down, Jamie. So again, the price of homes are going to continue to go up, and I think it's going to get pushed where we see our low income go to another county so they can afford.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for them. You know, do I want people to leave Rutherford County? Absolutely not. But keep in mind that those outlying areas where home prices are lower will eventually see the increase. So we're talking a possibility for a great investment for a lot of first-time home buyers, especially in the McMinnville market, the Shelbyville market, the Woodbury market, Smithville. Goodness, we have a lot of first-time home buyers in Smithville, and I have watched their equity. I've watched their home prices double. And so the first-time home buyers have such a great opportunity. There are awesome programs out there. I have never been in lending, but I've sat at the closing table and I've seen the incentives that you can get for being a first-time home buyer. And we also have great developments and developers in Middle Tennessee that specialize in that starter home that makes it as affordable as possible. So my advice to any young person or anybody is to buy your first house. Doing it as early as I could is part of what made me successful today.
Yeah, I can remember my first home loan. It was at 13% and a 1-year arm.
No.
It didn't preclude us from buying a home. I mean, and then just to watch it steadily go down. It was during the Reagan years. And, right. So my arm never went up. It always went down. And I'm going, hey, what a great deal.
This is a pretty good deal.
But I don't know if that is going to happen. But, so again, going back, roads, traffic. So we moved out to Smithville for 3 years. Before I moved back, my wife made me promise her that I would not get mad at traffic. I have failed miserably. Why are you laughing? So when we come back, Brian has come back into the room, so we're ready for a break. We'll come back, talk more about City Council.
Great.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
This message for all the men out there. Ladies, cover your ears. If you've been feeling tired and grumpy and have noticed a lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. And at Low T Center, they make it quick and easy to get your levels checked. It's as simple as a blood test with their on-site lab, and they'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. What I love about Low T Center is geared towards us, men. They know we don't like to wait around. They know we're impatient, and they know that we like things simple. For me, at times, that means making things a little more simple to understand, too, because we're guys, and we're more focused on heading home to start working on that project car in the garage. Who knows what you're thinking? We're guys, there's no telling. But let me recommend Low T Center. Most health insurance is accepted for treatment there, and they have the affordable and convenient treatment options that include physician-monitored self-inject at-home treatment for their established patients, shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hi, this is Trevor at Bell Jewelers. If you're looking for a new watch, we have Longines and Seiko. And then in the pre-owned market, we have pre-owned Rolexes and Tag. You can keep up to date with that on our Instagram and TikTok. If you're trying to sell your pre-owned Rolex, bring it by to Bell Jewelers and we'll give you an offer for it. And if you're looking for a pre-owned Datejust, Submariner or GMT, come to buy Bell Jewelers. And we have those items here in store right now. Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad, across from Toots.
Adam's Place has been a wonderful place. I'm Greg Shannon. I ride a bike, so I keep my bike on the patio. It's easy to get in and out, and water aerobics, like I said, and then they have stretch and balance to help you, because us old people, we fall a lot. So she's trying to teach us how to keep from falling and to, protect yourself and be careful and be smart,
I'm Terry Deal. Call me about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111. Memorial Boulevard, across from Walmart.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
When we say it's important to shop local, it's also important to listen local. Support local business. That's what WGNS has supported for the past 77 years. Coffee and conversation about local history. And that happens every Saturday morning from 9 until noon over at the old one-room Ransom Schoolhouse. It's all free, including the coffee and donuts. Ransom School is at 717 North Academy Street. The season finale for our Tennessee Philharmonic Orchestra is Thursday evening, April 18th, 7 o'clock at Bel Air Baptist Church. The closing concert of the season features the Siegel High School Chamber Choir, along with our own Tennessee Philharmonic. Again, the final concert of the season, Thursday, April the 18th, 7 o'clock in the evening. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your American flag to WGNS. And let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Partial sunshine develops here for this afternoon with a high in the low 80s. Tonight, a slight chance for showers and storms late, cloudy and a low near 67. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 69.
Middle Tennessee Electric organizing Rutherford County's 23rd annual Earth Day celebration Saturday, April 20th, 10 to 2 on the Murfreesboro Square. Check out the Kids Zone, hands-on games and activities, free fun for the whole family. More online at rcearthday.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herger, founder and executive director of First Shot Foundation. We have another opportunity for you. April 29th, we have a golf tournament. We have about 3 or 4 golf teams available, hole sponsorships and pavilion sponsorship. So if you're interested, give me a call at 615-631-5312. Jamie, we were talking about city council.
I like to golf. I was writing down that opportunity to show my putting skills.
I love that.
I'd love to join you.
You know what I like really about you and Alan?
What?
Is your adventure you guys are living. I mean, if people have not known, this has really been a great love story for me. And, I'm looking from afar, and I just love it. I love you guys' adventurous spirit. I've always loved Alan Brown, how he and his son have done all these great experiences. And so, again, I just say congratulations. You're marrying a great guy.
Thank you. When he proposed to me, he said, "I promise life will never be boring." And then a few months later, he had a heart attack. And I was like, yep, you promised life would never be boring.
And I'm so glad he's had a full recovery. I won't tease him, and I won't tease any Tennessee fan. I am a Purdue guy. People that know me know that. My cousin's Matt Painter, the head coach. I am leaving Thursday to go to the Final Four. I knew that Allen would love to go to one, and I think Tennessee will get to one.
Oh, we hope so.
And for me, I'm a Rick Barnes fan. I'm more of a coach fan than I am any school fan. So
I love that
people that know me. But I was in college coaching for 20 years. I have a lot of friends, and what a great experience they all got to live. Just to get to an Elite Eight is just people don't realize how hard it is. It's just like what you're doing now with the city council. I think it's hard. People don't understand how hard it is to fix problems that they inherited. So again, long-term planning, you said, is important. We talk about traffic. My question to you, what other problems are coming on the horizon that you see that we need to really focus on here in our city?
Yeah, I think the other issue, and they all are somewhat related in that they tie back to growth, right? And the issues that growth creates. And that is our public services. You know, we need more parks. We're going to need more firefighters. We're going to need more police officers. And to hire those things, we need more money to do so. You know, and property tax, the majority of the city's revenue is created from property taxes, of course. And the property tax revenue will go up over time after these homes are developed and built and moved into. And then a few years later, people start paying property taxes. But for now, we have to fund the anticipation of that. And so bringing in more police officers, and there's a shortage. You know, I mean, Chief Bowen over at MPD has expressed to us the difficulty in recruiting and retaining great police officers, and Chief McCluskey as well. You know, we are a centrally located city. We're close to Interstate 24, Interstate 840, Interstate 65, which means that we have to stay competitive with our benefits package and our salary packages for our public services, because otherwise they may go to Metro Nashville or they may go to City of Franklin. And we don't want to lose great quality staff to those other areas. So we have to make sure we're competitive in that arena. And it's been difficult to balance, because as a small business owner, I deal with that as well. I deal with my team members leaving for other opportunities, and I can't blame them for doing what's best for their family. What I can do, though, is make sure that we are offering competitive wages and that we are offering a great work environment so that hopefully people will stay as long as possible. So truly, recruitment and retaining of our public services workers are incredibly important right now.
So when third issue that you see that we need to, I think we underpay teachers, firemen, and police officers, but you know, that's just Andy's view. I love people that serve, and so at the same time, what's the next big issue?
You said 3, Andy. Let's see, a 4th issue. No one ever asks about the 4th issue. That was a good little stumper there.
Little twist.
Well, I will say the city council serves a very important role. And 2 years ago, we lost 2 of our council members because they didn't run for re-election. Rick LaLance, Ronnie Martin. Neither one ran for re-election. If elected to the state house, I will need to vacate my seat on city council. And it's possible that in the next few elections, we have a couple of retirements from the city council. And I think we need to be preparing for a new guard to come in and making sure that they are up to speed as quickly as possible. You know, new blood in any water is great. It's going to challenge existing beliefs and bring new ideas. And I love that. I love that in business. I love that in government. I love that in my family. However, this is not a time for the city to sit idly. We need to make sure that we are continuing this push forward for smart growth and for more infrastructure. And so I would hope that anyone who is watching the city council over the next few years will give a little grace to the newer people as they get their feet wet, and also help them learn. What I so appreciate about the stakeholders here in Murfreesboro is when I got elected to city council, they were quick to answer my phone calls. More times than not, my first 6 months on council, it was me calling people instead of them calling me, because I had questions. Hey, I don't understand how this works. And that's okay to admit when you don't understand how something works or why something is that way. And so I think it was a huge blessing but it was also a huge learning curve. And so I would encourage the people out there to give some grace as the city council faces so many changes over the next few years. I do think it's inevitable.
Well, I mean, you look at it, we need to bring up good young leaders. I think you're one of them,
Thank
Jamie.
you.
And again, I really truly appreciate your service. I think people don't appreciate enough anymore. I think we're quick to judge. We can see the speck in your eye and not the plank in my own kind of thing. And I'd just like to say, how do we reach out to the next group of leaders? How are you going to help reach out so we have good people running for city council? Because I think it's ultimately important. They control more of my life than the federal government, and that's what I truly believe. I always believe the most important people we elect are the local.
That's right.
So how do we go out as community leaders? I hope I'm a community leader. I know you are. How do we find good young people to run?
Yeah, I think the most important part is making them feel welcome and included. I don't know that I would be where I am right now if Mayor McFarland hadn't taken a chance and nominated me for Planning Commission at such a young age. It would have been very easy. Now Mayor McFarland was very young when he was elected to City Council, and so that's probably why he trusted me to bring knowledge, despite my youth, to that position. But I think we have to make sure we're including them, because I may not have known everything under the sun when I was appointed to the Planning Commission, but I was willing to learn. And I think you'll find that in our youth, is we are willing to learn, and we are willing to take chances, and we are willing to listen. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, listening is so important to local government. And I think if we include them as early as possible, I'm not saying that a young person running for city council or running for state house is a bad thing, but I think that person, before doing so, should be involved in other ways, in county government, in local city commissions or committees. There are so many ways to get involved, and if we start them early, I think they are better prepared for the decisions that they will make later on, and maybe their decision to run will be more well thought out. I think a lot of people run for local office and they don't truly understand the sacrifices that it takes. And I think starting people at a smaller level, like a Parks and Rec Commission appointment, a Planning Commission appointment, Board of Zoning Appeals, Public Building Authority, there are so many ways to get involved at the city and the county level. And that's not just Rutherford County and City of Murfreesboro. There's, Laverne has boards, Smyrna has boards, Eagleville has boards and commissions, Smithville, Woodbury. No matter where you live, getting involved is going to help show you the path where you can make the change that you desire to make. And so I think getting people involved early is absolutely the key.
Well, again, I truly appreciate that, because everybody will ask you, well, how did you do first shot? Well, I started one child at a time. They think it's this grand thing that you do.
That's right.
I started at a very low entry level to a ministry that's grown now for 20 years, and it's just what you're saying. Get involved. But
Yes.
we also have to go out and seek them, too.
We do.
I think it's us as older people. This young man or this young woman, they show an aptitude to serve. Well, let's get them involved.
I think more so, I think seeking them out is important, Andy, but I think there are those out there who are ready, willing, and able. I think it's up to us and it's up to you to make sure that they feel welcome and that they feel that their youth has value. And I think that's what Mayor McFarland did with me. Planning Commission did that with me. City Council did that with me. I came on as a young city council person, green as ever to local government, but not once did I feel like my opinion was not important because of my youth. In fact, every single council member up there said, hey, Jamie, you're new, or your generation is closer to the first-time home buying generation. What do you think about this and about affordability in our local in our local community. And so I think that there are people ready, and I think there are people that want to get involved. We need to make sure that we're providing
those
a place for
opportunities.
them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree. So we're going to switch gears here a little bit.
Okay.
You jumped in to running for the House. Tell us why.
I did. So I am seeking election to the State House of Representatives, District 13. So that,
which includes what?
Yeah, great question. So it is going to be mostly Eagleville, the west side of Murfreesboro, the Blackman area, into Almaville Road, some of Smyrna, and some of Laverne. So what happened a few years ago is Rutherford County has experienced so much growth. After the last census, the state house actually had to add a new district. So some people may not realize, if you live in those areas, you may not realize that you have been put into a new state house district, and that is District 13. So the first election to that district was in 2022, which was just 2 years ago. So we've only had kind of one term up until this point. I am now seeking election to that. I am challenging the incumbent, but it's only a one-term incumbent, so I'm not doing anything too wild, like challenging someone who's been there 40 years or something. But
so I think that's what we should challenge, though. I'm one of those that.
I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, I wish there was term limits and everything, and but I'm kind of a different thinking guy. But why run now?
Yeah, I think people come to me and they say, why'd you run for city council? And I don't know that there's a political answer. Well, I want to help people. Of course I want to help people. That is why I got into the business that I'm in. That's why I volunteer. That's why I'm involved in the ways that I'm involved in the community. But I think there's this push or pull that is greater than us, and I can tell that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't know that I can give you an exact why. I wish that I just had a dream one night and woke up and said, I'm going to run for state house. But truly, I kept getting all these opportunities and these phone calls and hearing from these frustrated people in District 13 that said, we need someone like you. We need someone that's going to listen. We need someone who is going to bring in that experience from the local government and the compassion that you bring. And people kept coming to me, and I prayed about it, and I talked to my family about it, and all the cards fell in at the exact right time. And I found myself once again in front of the election commission with no fear. And I think when you have that feeling of no fear, that is only a feeling that God can provide. And I knew at that moment when I pulled that petition that was the right choice. And I had no qualms after that.
So one of the core values of First Shot is to champion a cause greater than yourself. And it's really what public servant people are doing if they stay true to who they are. And so my question to you, how are you going to stay true to yourself in this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the answer is I'm going to continue to listen to the people in this community because they are who I serve. And that is how I have felt through city council. I would like to think that every decision I have made while on city council has been because of the people. And I want to take that now to the state house and continue to serve the people of Rutherford County, specifically the areas where I have spent my life and I have grown my business, and I'll be starting a family. Eagleville, Rockvale, the Blackman area, Smyrna and Laverne, that is such an interesting district. It is multicultural, it is diverse, it is growing, it is in demand, and I am so honored that I get to live in that district, much less maybe one day represent it. And so I plan on staying true to myself by staying true to the constituents and staying in the community, whatever the cost.
All right, we're going to take another break and be right back and wrap this thing up.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Getting the kids to practice on time, remembering if it's your day to bring snacks, making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Rayburn Insurance in Smyrna.
Come see me, Rick Hall, at Rayburn Insurance in downtown Smyrna today.
Online at rayburn.net.
Life is best when lived in motion, and Bud's Tire Pros will help keep you and your ride in motion and on the road while ensuring you're ready for any adventure that life throws your way. March 14th through April 2nd, get up to $80 via a Visa reward card, or you can get a Visa virtual prepaid card with the purchase of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. With Bud's Tire Pros by your side, you can continue to explore the unfamiliar.
Stop by and see us at Bud's Tire Pros today. See store for details. Offer ends April 2nd, 2024. Void where prohibited.
As a leader in environmental services, sustainability is deeply integrated into our business model. At Middle Point Landfill, we are environmentalists at heart. We use cutting-edge technology in combination with our deep experience in recycling and waste services to protect our environment and our neighbors. That's our job, and that's our promise. We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com. For public services, we are sustainability in action.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back in. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and executive director of First Shot. And I'm here with Jami Averwater, running and seeking the House, District 13. Off air, I asked you to think about, with that diversity, what issues are facing that district, and what do you think you can bring to help it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm starting to, and back to my wedding on Sunday, I should change my last name to Brown. It might be a little easier to say, Andy. I'm sorry. My last name is Averwater. Averwater, yeah.
Forgive me.
No, that is quite all right. But when people go to the polls on August 1st, I want to make sure they know what last name they're looking for.
Helps you, I hear, in polling.
I hope so. I hope so.
Your name goes on top, right?
That's right. Unless someone, I guess Atwater would be before me, though. So thank goodness that's not my
Averwater.
I'm sorry. That's okay, Andy. That's quite all right. You can blame my dad for that one.
It won't be the last time I mess up on somebody's name.
Well, Brown is such an easy last name. I may have to take Allen's last name after all. It just makes more sense. But back to your question about the people of District 13 and the problems that they are facing. I have lived in District 13 almost my entire life, what is now District 13. And I know that it is changing a lot. Off air, we talked about the boom that Eagleville and Rockvale is experiencing. So when I grew up in Eagleville, there was very few developments, maybe a couple of small developments with 15, 20 houses. There was Eagleville School, there was Rockvale School. There was only Rockvale Elementary. It was that one old building with the rocket out front. There was not a high school. There was not a football field. And so a lot of change has happened to that area. And I know that Blackman and Smyrna and Laverne are experiencing that as well. So with that growth comes the need for more infrastructure. And like we just talked about, the city and the counties don't necessarily control those roads. A lot of that comes from TDOT and the funding that the local governments get from the Tennessee Department of Transportation. So my hope is to work together with the mayor of Smyrna, with the mayor of Laverne, with the mayor of Eagleville, the mayor of Murfreesboro, mayor of Rutherford County, to all come together and get us the funding that we need to build and improve our roads so that people in Eagleville can get to work safely and quickly. In addition to that, I want economic development. I think the days of people in Rutherford County driving to Davidson County or to Williamson County for work is not necessary anymore. We need more jobs in Rutherford County. More people are working remote. We have area and space to build more commercial development, and I think we can bring those jobs here. So my goal is to help the people of District 13 by doing those two things.
Well, again, I can't tell you how excited I am for you. What a great opportunity. And I love the youthfulness that you bring to it.
Thank
Just
you.
so you know, I'm tired of looking at people that look like me in government. All right, the white hair, old guys. So, again, it's a fresh face, and there's a youthfulness, and I think the energy and passion that you got to have to get things done, you bring to the table. So, I see that by just this hour we've spent together, how passionate you are. So, going forward, what are the things that you're going to do to continue to listen to your constituents? How are you going to do that? You can't just do it by picking up the phone. You'll never sleep. All right? And I know you will, but at the same time, how are you going to communicate? I think that's the biggest problem we have with our politicians, is the lack of communication.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I like what you said earlier about the people that are elected to your local government have the most impact on your life. And I think that's true. I also think that you should know your local representatives. You should not just know their names, but you should know their faces and their families and what charities they support and where in the community they are involved and where they spend their time. I want to serve a district where I can go eat at restaurants and I know the owners. I love that. I love eating at the Alley on Main. I love eating at Las Fiestas.
I'm going to be there at 11:30 this morning.
That's right. Me too, probably, like 4 days a week. And so they're catering my wedding. I'm super excited. So I think that local government should not only be known, it should know the people. And I think we do that by working with the local charities, working with the local businesses. So you will find me. You'll find me now, and once elected to State House, you will find me at those restaurants. You will find me shopping at those local stores and doing business with those local businesses, because they are the backbone of District 13. They are the backbone of our community. And District 13 is full of small businesses and of local businesses and business owners and a few country stars too. So I'm excited about that. You know how cool it is to be in Eagleville having coffee at Grindstone Cowboy and Craig Campbell walks by? Only in Eagleville. You know, growing up there, I'd be grocery shopping and oh, there's Trace Adkins, you know. Eagleville is such a great place.
My wife grew up in Eagleville.
Did she really?
Yep. So
we
just
have
so
a lot
you know,
to talk about.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to meet. Again, I see all the attributes that we want to instill in our leaders.
That's right,
Jamie, and that's the key. Is what are we doing? And I think you're going to have a great testimony to some young women of how they can get and bring themselves to leadership in our county and in District 13. So, again, I can't wish you anything but the best of luck. Before we go, what's the last thing you want to tell the voters of District 13?
I want to tell the voters to vote, because I will say the one thing I have learned the most running for office these last couple of election cycles is our voter turnout could be better. And I think that if people knew how much their vote mattered, they would show up to the polls. And in Rutherford County, we give you ample opportunities. We now have, thankfully, where you can vote at any polling location during early voting. So if you work in Murfreesboro but you live in Eagleville, you no longer have to drive home to Eagleville on your lunch break to vote. You can vote at any polling location in the county during that early voting period. And when you see how every vote matters at the local level, it would and should inspire you to go out and vote. Make time. And I will say it takes 10 minutes. The lines aren't long. If you know the ballot, the process is pretty simple. You can even take notes and bring them in there with you. You know, I've had people tell me when I'm campaigning, especially for city council, they said, well, I get in there and the ballot's 18 pages long and I get overwhelmed. I get it. It is long. But it's also giant font, so it's not really 18 pages. You know, condensed down, it's probably 2 pages on a piece of paper. But you can take notes in there.
Again, us old people can't see.
We
need it that big, Jay.
Well, I can't see it well either, but it's if I don't have my glasses on. So take your notes in there. Do your homework. Take your notes in there and vote, because not voting is not helping your community. And so that's what I want to tell people.
So, again, first thing all of us can do to help our community is go out and vote.
That's right.
10 minutes. Call it 30 by your drive time. When is the election?
Yeah, so the election, at least the one that I'm running in for District 13 State House, is August 1st, which means early voting starts in July. It does feel like an early election this year. It's really not that much earlier than my last election, but it feels really early, just like Easter felt really early this year.
Because it was.
Because it was, right?
It's always in April to me, but.
Very strange, March 31st. And so be aware of when early voting starts. Be aware of who's on your ballot. You won't see the yard signs go up yet, but be looking into who puts in the work to get elected. Because in my experience, in my opinion, the candidates that you see going door to door and putting up their own yard signs, those are the ones that are going to serve with the most passion. They are the ones that really want it and want it for a good reason. And that's where you'll see me.
And that, not only that, you're going to be accessible, because if you're doing that, you're going to get to know people.
That's right.
And I really believe that's the one thing transparency in government is starting to even creep into the lack of in our own local government. So again, who we vote for is important. Again, Jamie, I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
I wish you the very best of luck. And man, I don't envy you all the barbecues you had to go to like I had to.
And the pancake breakfasts.
Crazy. Well, you have a great time. Keep that smile on your face, and we'll have you back after you win your August 1st election.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.